Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Backstage Pass, our video blog here at Coast Entertainments with me, Andy Donnelly. It's been a busy week here at Coast HQ. We've had loads of bookings and inquiries to get after. Tons of wedding band showcase registrations coming in as well. But as busy as we've been, we couldn't let the week finish up without speaking to another member of one of our busiest and best bands. This week I'm joined by the charismatic frontman of one of our bands, The Kicks. Now, some say that his scrotum has its own tiny gravitational field and that he thought the Double Dip Recession was a roller coaster at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. All we know is he's called John McIntyre, and I'm delighted to say that he's joining us here on the show. John, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hello Andy, nice to see you.
How the hell are you?
After that introduction, grand. Makes me feel a lot better about myself with my Scotland being mentioned, obviously. I love roller coasters. You do know that I'm terrified of roller coasters.
Aye, but it's a very unique talent to have, isn't it? In fact, I think that's partly what's holding us together.
Well, apart from that, it's the armrests are locked together. It's the only way we can get in the shot together.
So, John, for anybody who's just stumbling across the Kicks page on the website today, doesn't know an awful lot about the band, can you just give us a kind of brief, kind of potted history of how the band came to be?
Yeah, well, me and Steve knew each other for quite a while before we even thought about playing in the band. We always got on really well, which obviously is important because it's a close working relationship. But the clincher really was that any time that we had a jam, it was always it's probably my phone.
That's alright.
Any time we ever had a jam together, we always enjoyed playing, and the chemistry was always there. Like musically, it was always really tight. So when the opportunity came up, we really couldn't pass it by.
And as early as you are,
can I get the staff these stage hand? Just been
sorry, the executive producer of Backstage Pass is crawling about the chair behind us here, trying to switch a mobile phone off. That's how we do it in the pros. So John, as early as you're in the door with us with the Kicks, you've actually became record breakers, because the viewers don't know this, but these guys did their first showcase for us in March, and they broke the record for the most number of bookings taken by a single band at a show, which I think is a bloody impressive achievement.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's down to a different approach this time, rather than going about it the same way that we always did before. Being a fresh band and a fresh idea, we were really keen to let people see what we were capable of pulling off. We invest a lot of time, effort and money into what we do. Obviously, the way we look at it is if you've got to put all of that side in, all the time and effort for it to pull off and for it to be as good as it possibly can be.
Did you end up getting, was it 14?
I think 14 on the night. There was
14 out of 26 bookings taken on the night for one single band. Pretty special achievement. That's big by anybody's margin. So this is the point of the show where we're going to throw a few questions at John and hopefully give you a kind of deeper understanding of what the band can offer for your wedding. We're going to start off with question one, and this is, John, with depth and variation of set list
steady.
With depth and variation of set list becoming ever more important for clients these days, can you just give us an outline as to the various different styles of music you can cover and how you structure this through an average evening?
Obviously, big chart songs, the songs that come about now and again, like once every couple of months, that make a big impact, are obviously involved. But what we try to do is we try to keep it interesting for ourselves and for the crowds as well. So we like constructing things like putting some songs together, medleys and stuff, things that we think, maybe songs that are pretty good but they're maybe not a great song for the full length. We would maybe join that up with something else. And right now our choice of songs are structured around about what we think is going to be best suited for the weddings, what's going to benefit us. I think obviously the other thing to take into consideration is with weddings it's that varied. You've just not got the chart pleaser songs, but you get Kayleigh and all that kind of stuff they put in, and you know, we try to cover all bases basically. You know.
And I think that's one of the big kind of fears that people have. They think because the band are really cool and contemporary, they're just going to play Kasabian covers all night. But of course, because it is a wedding, guys like yourself understand that you've got to play a really good varied mix.
I think that, you know, we've had clients before, like both of us, and when we're in different bands, you know, and they would phone up and say we only want this type of thing, and the first point that I would make to them is, well, I think what you have to consider is what your guests would want as well, you know. But there always is a happy medium. We've done crazy things. We've been asked for. We had an international client that was from was it Switzerland or something? She was from something like that. And she got married up north. In fact, it was the one that was on Sky News because they thought we only got to get there.
That's right, in Pitlochry or something.
That's right. And they wanted Dakota by the Stereophonics as their first dance. So we mishmashed it. We made a slow arrangement of the song to begin with, and then it went into the kind of faster part at the end. We thought that was a good compromise.
Cool. Well,
things like that.
I think that's a fairly comprehensive answer, I would say. Question 2 is, with so many venues out there, large and small, set-up space is one of the big considerations for clients when selecting a band for their wedding. Do you guys need a certain amount of space to set up, or is there kind of flexibility in how you can do this? I suppose you could always stone a tapper Neil Toms.
When we went about picking a PA system, that's speakers for anybody who's not clear with the terminology.
Who's not up on Muso Talk.
But basically, the main speaker system that we've got is for a French company called Nexo, and you know, the good thing about it is it's a good modular system with the way that you know, you can break it down for a smaller venue and use half of the system, or you can, you know, add the full thing to have the full effect in a bigger hall, and it's really effective because unlike a lot of other systems that we tried, at lower volumes it's still very rich, so it doesn't lose any of that quality. You know.
So if you can give us an example of like two opposite extremes, so where's like a really small venue that most punters would think you just couldn't fit into, that you've been able to go in and play, and then give me the opposite example where you've been able to give them the full rich experience of the band spreading out.
The venue in Ayr, the hotel in Ayr.
Enterkin House.
Yeah, that's the one. And it's like
that's
a really
tiny.
Yeah, it's a really confined space. You basically you set up and it's a fireplace that you're in front of. So I guess you an idea of the kind of space that's involved. Didn't know Tony Blair hand gestures.
Following him.
Following your footsteps. But the opposite side of that is, you know, we've done places like the Park Hotel in Kilmarnock, which is obviously a big hall.
You get to really spread it on that.
And it's a big venue to fill up.
And what I will tell you is that this band are really big on the whole theatre of the stage presence, and one of the things they did at the showcase which was really effective and the punters really commented on is they have a drum riser, which is just a big kind of carpeted wooden platform, and it lifts the drummer about 18 to 20 inches off the floor and it raises them up behind the band, and that's a really kind of impactful touch there. I thought most people commented on that at the showcase.
That's something we set out from the very beginning when we first had a meeting about putting the band together, and you know, without scaring anybody away here, obviously,
Steve wanted pyro.
Steve and I are very much into bands for stage presence, like, you know, like Kiss and all that kind of thing, that they really put a show and that kind of stuff. So we don't want to go to the whole extent of wearing leathers and painting our faces and decapitating nurses and stuff like that live on stage. But that I mean, just to paint a picture, that was Alice Cooper, but I never actually done that. But no, we've always been really big on like lighting and effect, and I think that from my point of view, the first band that I seen that really did that, it was a band I seen down south. And when they came out, like, they had the whole lighting thing, like everything was like the lighting was shining off the chrome of the kit and all that kind of stuff. And the band looked great, and for me it was like it put them up there another notch. It was like going to see a professional, you know, like known well act playing, you know. So that's always been really important to me, you know.
Cool. So there you go, folks. They can cover really small venues with a kind of shrunk down, kind of modular version of the kit, and they can spread right out to give you a big kind of power stage show on the biggest stages. So very versatile for that point of view. Question 3 is, John, with overall value for money very much at the forefront of people's minds when booking an act for their wedding, can you just give us a rundown on your pricing structures and, of course, what that covers?
It's quite funny because I actually had to ask Andy.
John had to ask me earlier what his price was.
How much is my band? I don't know. I just did, because literally just take the booking, and Steve processes all the paperwork. I don't take anything to do with that. Basically, the price of the band is $895, which we think is a great
for a live, fully live product.
Yeah, I mean the other thing to take into consideration, because a lot of people have mentioned, is that we get a big sound for a 3-piece, but we work very hard on that kind of thing. It's obviously I play guitar and I play keys in the band, so like if somebody has a song that's quite piano orientated, like for the first dance for example, we can still cover that. There's no problem with song choices because we're a 3-piece. Right. But the price plan is great. If you guys go online and check out some of the other bands that are out there online,
guys, I would go as far to say, actually, for value for money product, it doesn't get any better than this. I mean, for a fully live product of this calibre, the average price is kind of £1,200 to £1,250 for a comparable band, so just ticks every box. The musical product's amazing, the visual product, the theatre of the show is absolutely fantastic, and the clincher is the price as well. £900, fully live band of this kind of calibre, irresistible. Punters are booking them in droves. So thanks, John, for that. That's quite comprehensive as well. Final question before we start wrapping this up is, one of the big anxieties that clients have when booking a band is that the potential doomsday scenario that a member of a band gets unwell, and of course they're unable to play the gig. What can you do as a band to just kind of minimise that kind of scenario, other than of course living in a paper suit and not coming into contact with the outside world?
Apart from loading up with the old echinacea every day, which was apparently works. It better work is Holland & Barrett, man. I've cost me a fortune with that. Maybe shouldn't have mentioned their company name. So
right, you want free advertising in the show, mate. Advertisers are going to have to pay for that.
Basically, the fortunate thing about the band scene, especially with Coast Entertainments, is that the bands are very friendly with one another, and we keep in touch with other musicians, session players, that kind of thing. So at any one time, if anybody is to the point ill that they can't perform, we have a pool of people that we can bring in to dep, and they always know the set list. We make a point of having a rehearsal maybe every couple of months, just so they brush up on the songs. I'll phone up some of the guys and say, just in case, we'll brush it up, or inherently make a point of doing a wee gig, a wee night, so that we can all brush up on things. Cool. So it doesn't make any difference to the client. It's still the same sound. Everything's exactly the same. It's peace of mind for them, because they know that no matter what, they're going to get the band on the night as they heard it. Yeah.
That really is peace of mind for punters. So great stuff. Okay, we'll just start wrapping this up now. Before we do, this is the final part of the show. It's called I'm Not Your, and now I'm about to show you a picture of each member of the Kicks, and you have to guess which fictional character a poll of 1,000 Guardian readers thought was their family member. So I'm going to start off with a picture of the lead singer, Mr. John McIntyre. So you can have a wee think about that. We've actually got the Backstage Pass production team in with us here today. So Paddy, if you had to take a wild guess, which fictional character could be John's brother?
Don't say John Barmany.
He's too close, I don't want. Well, in actual fact, the answer that we got from a poll of 1,000 Guardian readers was Hermes Adventures of Tintin. But of course, after exhaustive DNA testing, we can conclusively confirm that Tintin isn't actually the blood brother of John. His big brother is in fact the fictional character Johnny Bravo. Okay, moving swiftly onwards. On the drums, if you haven't been to the website before, we have Mr. Neil McDougall. So you have to have a good think, looking very dashing there.
It kind of looks like the horse out of that cartoon Tangled.
And you have to have a good think, Paddy. If you had to make a guess, who Who would Neil McDougall's fictional brother be?
Voldemort with long hair.
No, in fact it's not Lord Voldemort. 1,000 Guardian readers actually thought that his brother was Prince Caspian from Narnia.
Which leaves a line for Steve then.
But after exclusive DNA testing we can confirm that Prince Caspian isn't Neil's brother. His brother is actually Conan the Barbarian. Can you see that properly?
Toss my cookies.
And finally, we have on bass Mr. Sinister Stephen Adams there, looking very handsome.
His name's Adams.
This one is probably, I mean, this is easy to want to guess, isn't it? What did most Guardian readers think was his brother?
Paddy was like Noddy Holder, something like that.
No.
Mick Hucknall.
Oh, yes! In a poll of 1,000 Guardian readers, most of them thought that that was actually Steve's dad.
Manchester.
We can conclusively confirm today that it's not his dad. After exhaustive DNA testing, his dad is actually the fictional 1990s cartoon character, Where's Wally?
He's in rehab.
Who's now in rehab after being so traumatised at the spawn that he produced and inflicted onto the world. But we wish him well. So we're just going to wrap up now, guys. Just to say, John, thanks very much for coming in to speak to us today, brother.
Pleasure. Really enjoyed myself today.
It's been emotional.
Yeah, it has been emotional.
And we're back again, of course, next week, same time, same place. We're not doing a band interview next week. We're actually going to tee up the showcase next week on a special showcase episode of Backstage Pass. It just leaves time for me to say thank you very much for tuning in again, and we'll see you same time, same place next week for another episode of
Coast TV, but I won't be here though.
No, Backstage Pass. Thank you.
Bye.